from the 18th Adhyay. We are chanting 18th Adhyay every day, so it makes sense to be able to understand what we're chanting. We have discussed up to the 32nd shloka of the 18th Adhyay. And for the last few weeks, we have talked about the three kinds of knowledge, three kinds of action, three kinds of a doer. And last time we did three kinds of buddhi or intellect. Three kinds means obviously sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. So it's better to understand a little bit about, of course, we have talked about gunas many times before, but it doesn't, can we just have this on mute, please, somebody? Yeah, got it. All right. So all matter is endowed with three gunas. Means everything in the universe is made up of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. And all these three gunas, they work together, they function together to make human life possible. All right. So different proportions of these three gunas will create different kinds of personalities. Whichever is the predominant guna of one's nature, of the antakaran, will influence the quality of that person's life. So it's very, very important to be able to understand what is my predominant guna, because it's going to affect the quality of my life. And if it's going to affect the quality of my life, it's also going to affect or influence where I will reach in this life and whether I will be able to fulfill the purpose of my life or whether I will be delayed in fulfilling that. If sattva is predominant in my life, then my life will be experienced as joyful, restful, peaceful, delightful, calm, steady, still. If rajas is predominant in my life, then I'm going to experience a lot of activity, a hyperness in the activity, a kind of a restlessness of wanting to do. Okay? And if there's tamas predominant, then life becomes a little passive, even negative sometimes, and pretty joyless. Okay? So I need to rise in my gunas. If it's tamas, then I need to move to rajas and finally to sattva. And then, of course, I need to go beyond the three gunas, but we'll talk about that later. Bhagwan said that two factors are very necessary to master in order to be able to rise from tamas to rajas to sattva. And last time we talked about them, buddhi and dhriti. So we talked about three kinds of buddhi last time. So today's shloka is about three kinds of dhriti. Dhriti means what? Perseverance, willpower, fortitude, the ability to do stuff without giving up. And this is a quality that is a prerequisite for liberation, spiritual liberation. If dhriti is not there, it becomes very, very difficult and almost impossible to pursue this path. Even if one has all the knowledge in the world, spiritual knowledge, material knowledge, whatever, you know what is dharma, adharma, you know what to do, you know what you don't have to do. But if you don't have the determination to do what you have to do, then you aren't able to reach the goal. And of course, it goes the other way also. You have the determination, but you don't know what to do, then that also can take you in the wrong direction. So dhriti, it's an inner strength. And this inner strength develops after prolonged sadhana, after chitta shuddhikaran, and of course, there is always the grace of the guru added to that. So if you want to pursue your spiritual goal, if you want to move towards liberation, two things will be required: sattvic buddhi and sattvic dhriti, the ability to do what has to be done. So let's go to today's shloka, which is number 33. I'll chant it as usual. Dhritya yaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriya yoge navya bicharenya dhriti sa partha satviki. The unwavering perseverance by which man controls through the yoga of meditation the functions of the mind, the vital airs, and the senses. That firmness, Arjun, is sattvic. Let's see these two things, buddhi and dhriti, intellect and perseverance. Intellect is the ability to choose what is shreya over preya. The ability to discriminate what is sat, asat, mithya. The ability to know what is dharma and adharma, right and wrong. Buddhi ka job. What does dhriti have to do? Dhriti is the ability to do the shreya in spite of discomfort, in spite of obstacles, in spite of whatever is going on. I have that perseverance that I will do what needs to be done. Okay? So, unwavering perseverance, fortitude, firmness, willpower, if you want to say, consistency of purpose, all these words basically indicate dhriti. Now, this dhriti can be sattvic, it can be rajasic also, and it can be tamasic also. So, this shloka number 33 is about sattvic dhriti. From where does this sattvic dhriti come? It doesn't come from ego. See, ego can say, I will do, I can do, I will go here, I will achieve this, I will attain this. That is all coming from ego. But sattvic dhriti doesn't come from ego. It comes from intense spiritual purification. Because it is the perseverance, it is the determination for achieving your spiritual goal. Okay? And that nishtha of achieving the spiritual goal can only come after intense chitta shuddhikaran. So when this dhriti, this perseverance, this idea, this nishtha arises within the sattvic mind, the buddhi holds on to it. That is why buddhi and dhriti have to come together. The dhriti arises, the buddhi holds on to it. And along with the buddhi and the dhriti, the sattvic sadhak's life is guided. It is, controlled. It is kind of put on the track where you will reach your goal. It's a combination of sattvic buddhi and sattvic dhriti. So how will I know whether my buddhi is sattvic and whether my dhriti is sattvic? How will I know that my determination is taking me to my goal, spiritual goal, or somewhere else? So there are three lakshans given over here, three lakshans. It comes in the first line, Dhritya yaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriya. Mana, prana, indriya. What are the lakshans? A restrained mind, mana, mastered pranic function, and controlled organs of perception and organs of action. Dhriti is that ability that coordinates and balances all these three functions in the body. So let us take them one by one. Restrained mind. Generally, what you know is that the mind is continuously drawn out into the external world, right? It jumps from thought to thought. It's constantly wavering between sankalp and vikalp. This is movement. But sattva is not characterized by movement. Sattva is characterized by steadiness and stillness. So if one's goal is to realize oneself in this lifetime, then what will you have to do with the mind? Firstly, you have to harness it. You have to harness the fluctuating mind. Think of the image of Bhagavad Gita, where we said that the mind and the intellect intellect has to hold the reins of the mind. Remember that? So you have to harness this mind which goes on fluctuating, moving around, and then having harnessed it, restrain it from moving out into sansar. This is easy to say, but difficult to do. I understand that because the mind is going to disobey. It's going to do manmani, because that's the word, manmani. That's what the man does. It does its own mani. It doesn't listen to buddhi mani. It only does manmani. So you have to find a technique that will work to keep this mind harnessed and fixed within. So the anchoring of the mind, we give some techniques in the beginning. That is, you focus your mind on your breath, or you focus on the Guru mantra, or you focus on an image that you have in your mind, or on your Ishtadev. So you give the mind one anchor to hold it inside so that it doesn't go on wandering. And this is how, through abhyas, through practice, this sattvic dhriti will start arising. And when you have mastered this restraining of the mind, you will know that my dhriti is sattvic, that is man. What about prana? The idea is to master your pranic functions, okay? Now, what is prana? What does prana do? Prana controls all the physiological functions of the body, whether it is inhalation or exhalation, whether it is hunger, whether it is circulation of blood, whether it is emotions rising in you, whether it is elimination or digestion, all these functions are being carried out by prana. Now, when the mind is anchored within, focused, restrained, all these functions also start coming under the control of the sadhak. They will start getting subdued, not getting agitated. You know, if you have an irregular breathing, try it out yourself. If you have an irregular breathing, your mind also will get agitated. And if the mind is agitated, your breathing also will become agitated. So there's a connection between the breath and the mind. So if you have a controlled breath, bodily functions will also become controlled, relaxed. You will be able to sit in meditation longer without being pulled and disturbed by all the functions of the body. You know how that is. And so sattvic dhriti will get established, where you will establish a balance between the mind and the breath and the other functions of the body. That will help you to establish yourself in sattvic dhriti. All right. So mind, prana. And then, of course, indriya. Indriya means organs of perception, organs of action. These are all bahirmukhi, all facing outward. They are all taking you into the outside world, right? Our organs of perception, eyes, nose, ears, taste, smell, these are our first contact with sansar. They bring the information into us and start the process of sansaric entanglement. And then the act, all those, the functions go on in the antakaran, and finally the organs of action take you physically into the external world, completing the process of entanglement. Now, this is all going outward. Dhara is going outward. Our energy is going outward. Now, if you're on a quest, let's say, for liberation, then we have to change the direction of our dhara. We have to change the direction of where our energy is taking us, right? So we have to go inwards rather than outwards. So we need to restrain these faculties. We need to train them. Restrain, in a way, is retrain these faculties from wandering around in sansar. Because for a sadhak who wants moksha or self-realization, going outside and getting distracted by the outer world is contrary to that goal. Therefore, you can't sit with your ears closed and eyes closed and nose closed. Nobody's asking you to do that. But you have to train them not to get dragged out into the outer world. Control, train, restrain. How will I do all these things? What is the method? Bhagwan is giving us the method in this shlok itself. Yogena vyabhicharenya. Through the yoga of meditation. Through the yoga of meditation, we can train the mind, the prana, and the indriya to move towards inner self and develop sattvic dhriti. There's a word over there, vyabhicharenya. Actually, it was very interesting. I was reading a commentary, and the meaning of vyabhicharenya actually means adultery. Adultery. Why is this word being used here? Completely seems to be out of context. So there's a commentary by Sri Venkataraman, and he says in this context, in the spiritual context, this word vyabhicharanya means engagement with anything that is not the self. Adultery. Anything that is not Atma, that is vyabhicharanya. So sattvic dhriti is that dhriti, that fortitude, that perseverance that ensures that the mind, the prana, and the indriya are not committing adultery, going anywhere which is not Atma. Okay, it is anchored in Atma. And it is a nishtha that in this life, sattvic dhriti, nishtha, in this life, I am going to achieve my spiritual goal. How? Through selfless action, through devotion, through knowledge. That is sattvic dhriti. Okay. Now, everyone doesn't have this. So let's see, is there any other kind of dhriti? Of course, there is rajasic dhriti. Let's go to shlok 34. Yaya tu dharma kamarthan dhritya dharayate Arjuna prasangena falakankshri dhriti sa partha rajasi. The perseverance, however, by which the man seeking reward for his actions clutches with extreme fondness virtues, earthly possessions, and worldly enjoyments. That perseverance or dhriti is said to be rajasic, Arjun. Okay, very nice explanation here. You know, we have 4 goals in life, 4 purusharths: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And the Shastras give us the technique. They walk us through these 4 goals of life. We have to go through life fulfilling all these goals. Okay. So dharma is the goal of living righteously, correctly. Artha is the goal of earning a livelihood. Of course, it has to be earned honestly, dharmically, because it has to support our life. Kama is the goal of fulfilling desires which are there. You cannot deny that. You have to fulfill them, but with moderation and according to dharma. And of course, moksha, seeking liberation after the purification process is over. These are the 4 goals we have in life. Finally, to understand these 4 goals, we have to learn how to earn money, keeping dharma in mind. And finally, how to sublimate our desires for material things into desire for moksha. This is how you have to take these 4 purusharths. Now, if you follow the teachings of the Vedas, if you follow the Shastras, you will surely do these 4 goals in the correct way, in the sattvic way. Your life will become sattvic also, and you will surely attain the purpose for which you were born. There is no doubt about that. So the choice of how we want to pursue these 4 goals is up to you. The Vedas are telling you how to do it, but they cannot force you, right? So you will do what you feel like doing, and you will feel like doing what your predominant guna is. So it's up to the individual. Unfortunately, our education system doesn't give us any training whatsoever, doesn't give us any correct training of how to make our buddhi sattvic, how to achieve the highest purpose of life. It gives you all the other training, but not this training. So, with so much training and so much hammering from the education system, what happens is we simply get sucked into the Rajasic frame of mind, Rajasic life, because actually our education system is teaching us exactly that. Our education system is teaching us how to be Rajasic. What will be the focus of a Rajasic mind or a Rajasic way of living? We will be trained, perfected, mastered in amassing as much artha as possible. Artha, one of the goals, but as much as we can. This is a training. And we will be able to therefore fulfill as many karma desires as we possibly can. And some dharma also will come inside. All this is there. Dharma is not being neglected, it is there, but it will be pursued rajasically. Unfortunately, in this entire framework of education, training, there is no place for moksha at all. So, in the rajasic way of living, 3 purusharths are being fulfilled, but the 4th purusharth has absolutely no place in it. So, the worst thing is that dharma, artha, kama will be pursued with rajasic dhriti, rajasic perseverance, rajasic ambition, rajasic drive, hyperactivity. We will acquire wealth with lot of rajas. We will fulfill desires with lot of rajas. So much ambition will be there. Let us see where that will lead us to. Okay. So there are 3 lakshans here for rajasic dhriti. In all the 3 lakshans, one thing is going to be common. Bhagwan says it in the second line, prasangena falakangshri. Whatever you will be pursuing, if it is with rajasic dhriti, then it is characterized by an intense attachment to the reward of your action. Bhokta bhav. Intensely, you will be seeking, desiring the fruit of the action. So, Rajasic Dhriti is result-oriented. Result-oriented. Let us see how it works for Dharma, Artha, Kama. All right, let's take Dharma first. So, what is Dharma? Dharma is doing virtuous actions which are prescribed by the Vedas. All whatever Vedas are telling us to do, we are doing virtuous acts. Now, a person with Rajasic Dhriti, he will pursue, he will ensure that he follows all the rituals prescribed by the Vedas. He will be doing that. What's wrong with that? He will work hard. He will do all, the charity and the puja and the path and the anushtan and the yagna. But what is the motive for doing all this dharma? That is important. See, the act is not important. The motive behind the act is important. So he will be doing it to collect brownie points. He will be doing it to collect punya. And why does he want punya? Because he wants a place in Swarga once he leaves this body. See, he's not only interested in getting good stuff while he's alive, even after life, after death, he wants to go to Swarga and enjoy over there in AC. Okay. So he does charity, he does yagna, he does upvas, he goes for tirtha dhams, does, all this parikramas, goes to temples, builds hospitals, all this. But if the motive is to get brownie points, to get the reward of this action, then that is Rajasic Dhriti. It is not because he loves other people, or he's not because he's, wanting to help society that he's doing all this. He may say, he may claim he's doing it for the love of humanity. He may say he's doing it for other people, but more than all that, he wants personal reward. He wants fame, name, recognition in this life, heaven in the afterlife. That kind of perseverance for doing good, for doing dharma, for following dharma, but you have a desire for getting the fruit of the action, such a dhriti is called Rajasic Dhriti. Okay? Perseverance in doing dharma for getting reward. Then what's the next goal? Let's take kama. Let's take kama, worldly pleasures. Now, a Rajasic Dhriti, person with Rajasic Dhriti, he will be pushed by his own gunas to pursue the fulfillment of his sensual desires. Any pleasure of the five senses will be pursued for what? Pleasure. He will go after the objects of pleasure because it makes him feel good. That is the reward. That is the fruit of the action. And his desires are not like over. Once one desire is finished, then all desires are over. No, no, no. His desires are endless. One will finish, the next one will be ready. And he will not be distracted from them. Even if you try to curtail, stop, or put obstacle, hindrance, it's not going to go away. It will resurface anytime. And when it resurfaces with a great volcanic force. He will not be satisfied after fulfilling any desire. He will want more and more and more. And he will pursue it more and more and more. So this steadfastness in fulfilling desires, go here, go there, get this, get that, experience this, experience that. There's no end to the experiences in the material world. And how much will you go on experiencing when you can't experience your own self? This kind of dhriti is Rajasic Dhriti. What about Arth? We've done dharma, we've done kama. Arth, wealth, money. Now you have so many desires, my dear. You want to do so much charity, etc. Then you'll need money, right? You'll need more and more money, continuous. So the focus of the life will be possess as much wealth as possible. Possess. That is a fruit. I want this, I want to work and I want to get more and more money. Even if the person has enough wealth, let's say for 3 generations, 5 generations after him, do you think he will stop earning money? Impossible. People say, once I earn 1 crore, once I earn 3 crores, once I earn 5 crores, whatever your silly goal is, then I will take sannyas. Then I will devote myself to spiritual sadhana. My dear, when you reach that goal, if your Rajasic Dhriti is there, that goal will go on increasing. It will just go on increasing. It's a fact. It's a fact of life, okay? Why? Because money translates into power. Money is power. And it intoxicates the person who has a Rajasic bent of mind. He wants more money because he gets more power to enjoy, to do whatever he wants. This kind of dhriti is Rajasic because it creates unstoppable ambition to be more and more wealthy. So now, let us understand Rajasic dhriti properly. You are pursuing dharma. You are pursuing artha. You are pursuing kama only for getting the reward of the action. Okay, Rajasic Dhriti. So there is a beautifully strong sense of karta bhav and an equally strong sense of bhokta bhav. Karta bhav and bhokta bhav is what is strengthening the ego, I, limited self. I am doing, therefore I must get, and till I get, I will not stop. So you take full ownership of the action and you are expecting the reward of that action. Result, you will get the reward, don't worry. But in the bargain, what you are doing is you are creating more and more and more vasanas. That means more and more bondage. No liberation. Cannot be. It's contradictory. Okay? So this Rajasic Dhriti, which is the determination of doership and the determination of ownership, enjoyership, that characterizes Rajasic Dhriti. Different, I'm sure you understood, from Sattvic Dhriti. Can there be anything worse than this? Bhagwan says, yeah, there can be. There is a Tamasic Dhriti also. Let's see what that is. Shlok number 35. Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madameva cha na vimunchati durmedha dhriti sa partha tamasi. Tamasic Dhriti. The perseverance by which an evil-minded person does not give up sleep, fear, anxiety, sorrow, and vanity as well. That perseverance is tamasic. If you remember when we did tamasic knowledge, when we did tamasic intellect, we saw that this kind of a mental makeup holds on very strongly to their own personal views. And they have views about the world, they have views about people, they have views about situations, they have views about different concepts. But all these are their personal views and they hold it as absolute truth. It is probably not based on any higher ideal, not based on any higher truth. And unfortunately, all these ideas and concepts that they are holding on to are actually causing them misery. But in spite of causing them misery, they will keep holding on, dhriti, holding on. That is tamasic, because it is not based on knowledge, it is based on ignorance, and it is creating misery. That is why Bhagwan classifies it as tamasic dhriti. A tamasic buddhi will not be able to discriminate between right and wrong, truth and untruth. It is based in ignorance. So when the buddhi itself is based in ignorance and it is holding on to concepts which are ignorant concepts, and you have dhriti added to that, then it is going to take you down the path of patan, right? Downfall. So here there were 3 lakshans for Sattvic Dhriti, 3 lakshans for Rajasic Dhriti, 5 lakshans for Tamasic Dhriti. Let's go through them. First one is called Swapnam. Swapnam, you know, generally means dream. But here it means sleep. Or it can also mean dream-like concepts, dream-like belief systems, which are basically imagination or delusion. So because they are delusionary, because they're not based in truth, because they're based in ignorance, Bhagwan uses the word swapnam. So the tamasic buddhi will hold on to this tamasic concepts, fanciful imaginations, delusionary concepts, and it will take him consistently down that path. And they will go on multiplying, building upon its own concepts. And no matter how much pravachan the person will listen to, no matter how much updesh will be given by any guru, no matter somebody will give a book, video, whatever, this tamasic dhriti will not loosen the grip on that buddhi. Now, what happens when you have all these delusionary ideas and these concepts which are based in ignorance? So it will be baseless. They don't want to give it up, so you will get stuck. If you get stuck, then you will be in inertia, another characteristic of tamas. This inertia will lead you to dullness, another characteristic of tamas. This dullness will lead to a sleep or a sleep-like existence, where you will keep dreaming your imaginations. And that is why it is called swapnam. So this tamasic dhriti is holding on to baseless concepts in which one is getting stuck and leading a sleep-like, fanciful existence even while he is wide awake. Okay, that is not a good dhriti to be having. The second lakshan is bhayam, fear. Now, when the buddhi is tamasic, it will fear all kinds of things, even though the situation is perfectly safe, perfectly secure. There will be fears and anxiety about future, about present, and the dhriti will not allow you to let go that fear. Be holding on, tamasic dhriti, holding on to the fear. Will there be enough money for me when I grow old? Who will look after me? What happens if somebody steals my bank? What happens with this? What happens? All what? If this happens, if that happens. Are Baba, nothing is happening. Everything is proper, but you are not ready to give up the hold on your fear. That is called tamasic dhriti. And of course, the biggest fear, fear of death. So preoccupied with fear of death, he forgets to live what he has when he's alive also. He is dead while he's alive. He's dead. That is why it is tamas, inertia. Okay? The life of such a person is ruled by fear and there is a lack of faith. So tamasic dhriti doesn't allow you to live even while you're alive. There is no joy. There is only constant fear. And you know, fear causes fear paralysis. Paralysis means no movement. No movement is tamas. Okay? Contrary to rajas. Okay? Contrary to rajas. Rajas, at least you're moving in some direction. Here in tamas, you're not moving only. You're stuck. Good and proper. Third lakshan, shokam, sorrow, grief. Shokam is, see how beautiful Sanskrit is. Shokam is the grief, an emotion that you have unpleasant memories of the past. It is connected with the past. Okay? You have some memories and you have a dhriti of holding on to them. You don't want to let go of all unpleasant memories, traumas, unpleasant memories. You're holding on to them like some silly video that gives you fear, gives you worries, frightens the hell out of you, gives you nightmares, but you want to go on watching that video. That is giving you shokam. You're holding on to it with tamasic dhriti. Tenaciously, you're holding on to it. Not let go. Whatever you have experienced in the past has now created one self-view. It has created one identity, and you refuse to let go of that identity. You refuse to let go of that past memory, even though it is giving you shokam, even though it's giving you grief, even though it's giving you sorrow. Such a holding on, such a ability to hold on is called tamasic dhriti. Opposite of that, holding on to the past, is something in the future also, and that is vishadam. Vishadam is depression, despondency, thinking of what will happen in the future. This has happened in the past. Now what will happen in the future? And the most beautiful example is Arjun himself. See, read Adhyay 1. He is so caught up in what is going to happen if he fights this war. He will rant and he raves. The whole first Adhyay He is in Vishad. It's called Arjun Vishad Yoga. He's continuously what will happen to the women folk, what will happen to the kings, what will happen to this, what will happen to the country, what will happen to the praja, what will happen to this and that and the other. Vishad, thinking of the future, what will happen, what will happen. At the end of that first adhyay, the warrior, the most valiant warrior of the entire kingdom, of the entire, all the kingdoms, sinks down on the bottom of his chariot, dropping his most precious bow from his hand. Vishadam. When you are so caught up with what will happen, what will happen, what will happen, you will sink. You will sink to the bottom of your chariot. And you want to hold on to this feeling, tamasic dhriti. Hold on to this feeling of helplessness. Hold on to this feeling of doomsday scenario of the future. It took an entity of the level of Bhagwan Krishna to bring Arjun out of this tamasic dhriti. 47 shlokas of Adhyay 1 and another 8 of Adhyay 2 brought Arjun out of tamasic dhriti into sattvic dhriti. Took 18 adhyayas of Bhagwan for Bhagwan to explain and get this out of Arjun's head, that he does not need to have shokam or vishadam in fighting this war. And the climax, which has always been my most favorite shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, is shlok 73 of Adhyay 18. Let me read it. I love reading it also. Nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan mayachyuta sthitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. After holding on to his tamas and whatever, Bhagwan finally manages to transform Arjun from tamas to sattva, which is the dream of every guru, that the shishyas move from tamas to rajas to sattva and finally say, Karishye vachanam tava. I will do as you say, meaning I will do as the Shastras say, which means I will reach moksha. So that is tamasic dhriti, holding on to that which is not taking you to your spiritual goal. And finally, the fifth one, mother. Mother is arrogance. Mother is vanity, conceit in his foolish preoccupations of the mind, foolish concepts based in ignorance, which has no value, no truth, but holding on and feeling proud of it. Mother has one more meaning also, and that is enjoyment of sensual objects. So all this together creates a kind of a climate in the mind where arrogance, despair, sensuality, worry, fear, all this keeps the person tamasic only. Very difficult for that person to move out of tamas and therefore finally reach patan. So such a person Bhagwan calls durmedha. See that? Evil-minded person. Evil-minded means not that he is really doing something evil, but the intellect is corrupted. It's a corrupted intellect. It needs to be purified. It needs to be cleansed. It needs to be brought into a state where all the evil mull is removed. And this tamasic dhriti is not allowing him to come out of these 5 binding concepts, values, which he himself is thinking are very valuable and very important to him. All right. So that is tamasic dhriti. Let us recap the 3 dhritis once and finish off with dhriti. Next time is a very nice 3 things which you're going to see in the next 3 verses. Joy. But let's see recap of 3 kinds of dhriti. Sattvic dhriti is a nishtha in your spiritual goal. It is characterized by balance, stillness, restraint of mind, prana, senses, and it is leading you to liberation. Satvik Dhriti, nishtha in spiritual goal. And whatever needs to be done to reach that goal, you will do. Rajasik Dhriti is nishtha in material goal. Holding on to dharma, artha, and kama only to get results. So Rajasic Dhriti is result oriented. And it is going to lead to more vasanas. If you get more vasanas, there is more bondage. Therefore, no liberation. Tamasic Dhriti. Tamasic Dhriti, nishtha. Nishtha in what? In your own delusions. Nishtha on concepts where you do not want to know the truth. And it is based on ignorance. Okay? Holding on to values, holding on to qualities which are actually giving you misery and actually leading to your patan. That means making you more like an animal living in a human body. So, take 1 week, check out what kind of determination you have. Where is your determination leading you? Towards your goal, towards a spiritual goal, towards your material goal, or towards your downfall? And secondly, do you have any of the 3 determinations, or are you living your life without any determination at all? Check it out, because your ability to experience joy will depend on the kind of buddhi and dhriti you are holding within yourself. Okay, go ahead. It's a good exercise and very important. If you are all obviously interested in a spiritual goal, otherwise you wouldn't be on this satsang. So worth checking out, right? Oh. 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 Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shidarpanam. Jai Gurudev.